What's going on, guys? So the following video that you're about to watch is sort of just a documentation of the incredible biodiversity, aka all the cool critters I was able to film in Romblon. Romblon is one of the most beautiful locations we've been to above water, but below water, the amount of awesome critters and biodiversities and species we were able to film was just insane. This was a group trip. We do several every year, but I just want to show you some of the critters that we were able to film and get your guys' reaction, because my mind was blown. So put this in 4K and enjoy.
Now this snake eel was the first critter we seen on this trip, and I'm showing it to you because, well, it's also going to be the biggest one of the entire film. Most things were about this small. Before we ever got in the water, the owners of the dive resort said we really need to find this one. This is one of their favorites, and to be honest, it was great. So we flipped over a few pieces of coconuts and wood and stuff like that, and there was quite a few of them. This particular dive site was really kind of ugly, just a sandy hill, but everywhere we looked, there was nudibranchs. I'm really glad I got to find this one. It was definitely a first for me, but there was a lot more to be seen, including this guy. A great little sample of what we were going to be seeing for the whole rest of the week. Just nudibranchs everywhere. And really that was my goal, to find a lot of nudibranchs and crustaceans and things that I hadn't seen before, whether they're on my bucket list or not. I just wanted to see things that we haven't seen in Darwin, which is hard to do. We have a lot of stuff in Darwin. As I was following this little dude, he almost ran into this little tiny Alicia nudibranch, so I had to stop and film him for a sec. As I said, this particular dive site, this just sandy, barren hill, had nudies everywhere. All the photographers in our group were just staked out all over the place, filming all sorts of stuff. This flatworm species, for example, we probably saw 7 or 8 of them, or at least I did. And they were all over the place, big, small, whatever. Some of them even floating mid-water. This one wasn't too colorful. He was kind of a coffee mocha color, but he turned out pretty good on camera. And they're always nice to watch just slither around on the bottom. You really can't even tell there's water here. It just looks like a normal flatworm just walking around on a sandy hill. Now I've seen this species in Darwin as well, but it's got to be the most colorful and most beautiful flatworm that I've really ever seen. Love these guys, and there's no way I was going to pass up filming it. And it's odd because in Darwin and other places I've seen these, they're normally kind of hidden in the corals and rocks and places where they blend in. But like I said, this is just a barren sandy hill and not really blended with anything, but still a great opportunity for me to film it. There was tons of gobies on this dive site, and well, basically every dive site here in Romblon. And even though I didn't end up finding one of them, the magnificent goby that's on my bucket list, these guys were pretty cool as well. So I'll admit I have seen a lot of bubble coral shrimps around the Philippines, including Darwin, but this one was the first time I was able to film one with eggs. If you look closely under his abdomen, or his tail I guess, you can see all those little eggs he's carrying around. He was also doing some interesting behavior. That white cottony looking stuff, it looks like he's cleaning it off of the bubble coral. I have no idea what he's doing with it. I don't think he eats it. I'm not sure. Maybe he's just cleaning it, looking for little morsels inside. Who knows? Nearby were these tiny, tiny cryptic shrimp. They're so hard to film. I probably got 30 clips, and these are the only ones that really came out that weren't shaky. They're on this little, I'd call it churro sponge, and there's quite a bit of current, so it was just flapping around all over. And, well, the camera doesn't know what to focus on because they're almost completely blended in. These guys are a great find, and you can find these in white on a white sponge, but I'm just glad I got to film these in the first place. And another critter on my bucket list. So this is a pygmy seahorse that I have not seen before. In fact, before this trip, I've only seen the bargabanti, probably the most common pygmy seahorse. And I really wanted to see a lot more of these critters that I haven't seen before. So these are some awesome shots. Like I said, I've never seen them, and I got to see two here together. And then a little bit later on, I found another one by itself, and he was even in a better spot. So this was an amazing first dive. I couldn't even believe how many things we found that were just brand new to me. I love being able to film something for the first time underwater, especially interesting things like these little guys. On another dive site, I got to cross off yet another pygmy seahorse from my list of things I've never seen before. So this little Denise's pygmy seahorse, they actually called Santa Claus one. Divers come here because it's like red and white, kind of looks like Santa Claus. Those little white polyps or whatever, they kind of look like snow. Anyways, we saw a few different variations of the Denise's pygmy seahorse, and that was just the first one. Here's another one, and it was actually just like a few inches away from that pregnant one. So I guess, well, there they are together. You can see the one on the left, he's pregnant, and the one on the right's not. And I guess these are both considered the Santa Claus one there in Romblon. But I'll show you one that I found probably like 40 feet away on the same dive site that was still the Denise's, but a different variation. So not only is this the first time I got to film or see a Denise's pygmy seahorse, it was also the first time that it was extremely easy to film one. Like I said, I've filmed other bargabanti pygmy seahorses before, and they're just extremely difficult. I mean, they're the size of a grain of rice hidden in all this stuff, and they're also on a very delicate Gorgonian sea fan that you can't really get close to. And on top of that, it's usually on a wall or something where you just have to hover, and yeah, it can be very difficult. But this one was out in the middle of a sandy hill, very desolate and alone by itself, and somebody had set up like a rock wall or like a stand, and I think they were using it for cameras because it was just a barren rock right next to the sea fan, and it was a perfect spot for my camera. So I could just literally use it like a tripod without harming any vegetation or anything, and just sit there and watch these guys interact with each other. It was amazing. There's gonna be a lot of nudibranchs in this video because I swear Romblon has got to be the nudie capital of the world. There were just so many everywhere. I didn't film probably 99 out of 100 of them, just the ones that were good opportunities or ones I've never seen or just ultra colorful. This little dude is a species of cowrie, and it's tiny. It's like the size of a BB from a BB gun, and it's on this particular soft coral where I usually look for like crabs and shrimp and interesting things, sometimes even a candy crab. But this guy was really colorful, and I wanted to film it. And then on another dive, I saw another one. So I had to include it because I really like these guys. I'm really interested in calories as well, and this one was on a whiter type coral, white or gray, and he was blending in with it. He looked just like the coral he was on. It's pretty cool. It was all spiky, the coral is spiky. It's a cool thing to see, and yeah, they are pretty cute. So this Trepania nudibranch is just one of my favorite. I see it a lot in Darwin. It's not super rare or anything, but he was sitting on top of this little corally, spongy thing, and just, it's like he was posing. Now, just like in Darwin, I think these guys actually live on this little coral their whole life or for a long time. I've seen them on these corals, and then I could come back day after day, and they haven't moved more than like 6 inches or something, even after a month or two. So I've filmed them where they're really tiny all the way until they're a little bit bigger, like this one, and they're always really cool to watch. This one was super rare, a little bit harder to film out in the sand. He's really almost transparent, except for some spikes that are, well, as you can see, purple and yellow and whatnot, but really cool find. And another bucket lister for me. This is a Philadelphium species, and pretty much all Philadelphium species are on my list. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but there's so many different nudibranch species of Philadelphium, and they're all super unique and look awesome. They totally blend in with something. This one obviously blending in with something similar to that cowrie, a weird soft coral. When I saw him sitting next to it, you couldn't even see him. It was just, it looked like part of the plant. And there's a lot of these Philadelphiums on my bucket list that I've never seen before that I'm really hoping we get to find on this trip. This one I really had to go look up the name. I've never seen this particular pipefish. In fact, it was so tiny, I wasn't even sure if it was a baby of a bigger one or if it was fully grown or what. But I'm showing you this now because by the end of the trip, we're going to see a lot of cool species of pipefish and pipe horses that, well, a lot of them were on my bucket list and super rare. Including these mushroom coral pipefish. These are awesome. I've actually seen a couple of them before, maybe 2 or 3 in the last 5 years, and just on this one tiny mushroom coral I probably saw 6. So this was a really great dive site. I got to see some awesome stuff, and these mushroom coral pipefish with the red slash through their eye are something I've been wanting to film for a long time. Now, like I said, we saw a lot of cool pipefish on this trip, and a bunch of them are on my list, but a bunch of other ones should have been on my list. I just didn't know they existed. This next one, I've seen some awesome photos, so I really wanted to get him. It's like a pug nose pipefish, and really cute, but although we did find a bunch, they're so hard, almost impossible for me to film. These polyps or whatever were just hiding these guys. They never like look up at the camera, obviously. And they're not on like a hill or something, kind of like nudibranchs can be. They're not silhouetted or anything. So I'm just following it around for an entire dive with my camera, hoping that he just looks up, and it just never happened. Of course, I could take him out and pose him if I was like not a good diver, but I can't do that. So all I could do was sit there and film and hope something comes out. You can see a little bit there and there, but it's just how it is. Luckily, this isn't a photo competition, but at least I can show you guys kind of what they look like. So just imagine this little polypy hard coral and all these, maybe 5 or 6 of these swimming around amongst the corals. Pretty dang hard to film, but pretty cool too. There was just pipe horses and pipefish everywhere. They were always fun to find. These guys are super common, but I gotta show you the cool stuff, whether it's common or not. And then one of the awesome ones that wasn't on my list, but it should have been if I would have known it even existed, was this guy. So that's a pulsing xenia in the background that he's hiding in. And for some context, that red, brawny, pug-nosed pipefish, that was about the size and width of a pencil, like a number 2 pencil. So if that guy was the size of a pencil, this white guy is about the size of the lead inside that pencil. It was just tiny, and it was just swimming around in this pulsing xenia, perfectly blended in. So I was so glad when they told me about this that I said, yeah, let's go see it. And then I was just shocked. There was about 3 of them. Never seen anything like that before, and I just love the patterns, how they blend in so well. In fact, let me show you some more cool stuff, because these xenia had a lot of species living inside them. Like each one that I looked in around the different dive sites, it had a different species of something hiding inside of it, such as this crab. Same exact pattern as that pipefish, same exact pattern as the actual xenia, and the colors and everything matches perfectly. And it wasn't just this crab. There was tiny crabs, there was tiny shrimp, huge crabs. This one's pretty big. It's about the size of a quarter, which is pretty big in the macro world. But so many other species that were just blending in perfectly with this pulsing xenia. This next critter is definitely one that was on my bucket list. It was on my radar. It was something that I've always wanted to see, but I've never been able to find yet. And it's this guy. No, this is not a pulsing xenia. It is the nudibranch. If you look closely, you'll see little rhinophores there. And you'll also notice that the actual pulsing xenia is not pulsing, and this one is. That's the real pulsing xenia. This is the nudibranch. They've developed to look exactly like the stalks of this pulsing xenia on their back. It's insane. It's such good camouflage. I mean, it's insane. It's like if me and you grew a bunch of hair that looked exactly like seaweed, and then we went and sat in some real seaweed, nobody would even see us. Nature is so crazy. Here you can see him just sitting next to that habitat, and even though he can't make his pulse, you can see just how closely, exactly the same these guys look. They can just sit next to this and look like part of the plant, or look like part of it that's just not pulsing at the moment, Sometimes they don't. It's just awesome, awesome stuff. I love this nudie. Here you can see he's crawled up on top of one of them, and that pulsing xenia even stopped pulsing just like him. So they even look more similar. As he crawls over it, it stops pulsing to kind of hide. But eventually it got just snuggled in, and the actual xenia itself started coming back alive and relaxing, and it was totally blended in. You can't see it at all. I mean, you really have to look close to find those rhinophores. But who's looking for those anyway? Now, I've only seen this one time in Darwin, and it's always a cool find, and yet another awesome example of something with awesome camouflage abilities. Those on the right, we like to call sea grapes because Filipinos, they actually eat those. But that nudie branch right there is, he's just formed to look exactly like those, and that's where you find them. Here you can see him just snuggled up to his little habitat. Here I'm showing a little bit more so you get some reference, but yeah, if he was just sitting still, hanging out, maybe hide his head, this dude's like a sniper in a ghillie suit. You don't know he's there. And it definitely makes him really interesting and fun to film. There was a lot of seahorses. This is just a normal one that we see quite a bit, the thorny, but there's a lot of cool stuff on this site. This is yet another flatworm, and they were all over the place too. And you just can't help but to film these guys. They're always so photogenic, so colorful, and I always find it really fascinating how freaking thin they are. I mean, I have no idea how these guys can operate. Do they even have brains? Somebody tell me. Now this next guy, he's not only on my bucket list for critters that I want to film in the wild, he's the reason that I came to Romblon in the first place, and the number one thing we wanted to see. It's the Melody, or what we like to call the skeleton nudibranch, or the skeleton Melody. Now this guy is insane. He's got that same camouflage abilities. Right here in this clip, he's not on his natural habitat. He's kind of off on a sponge to the side at the moment, hunting. But you can see his, I don't even know what you call those. His body is just, it just looks like grass or leaves of some kind of coral. And then it's got a lot of transparent stuff in between. It's just amazing. If you look closely, you can see his heart and the little organs and stuff. It's crazy. And just like all melodies, they use their face to like open wide and then put it down and suck in all kinds of little crabs and shrimp and stuff. But since he's the skeleton nudie, or sometimes called ghost melody, he just looks cooler doing it. So I'm just gonna let you guys check out this video for a minute, because this is the reason I came to Romblon, and I'm so happy I got to check this one off the list. So sorry for the quality of this video. I'm just on my phone right now. We are taking a break from diving today to go check out the town of Romblon. Right now we're eating at this Italian restaurant a lot of people told us to try out. But the main thing I want to see is marble. This is the marble capital of the Philippines, and it is immediately obvious when you get here. There is marble everywhere. Everything is made out of marble. Every restaurant or whatever we go to, the tables are made out of marble. There's statues everywhere. It's just insane. I mean, it's so cheap that they're using it as like gravel, you know, around pools or walkways. There's just little chunks of marble as their gravel. You know, it'd be super expensive back home. But anyways, we're gonna go, we're gonna go down and see some of the artisans making marble.
statues and stuff. Maybe I'll even get something for my resort back in Darwin because it is beautiful. Let's go see what there is. Look what I made, Judea. This is hilarious. We're at some side of the road, random little cafe thing, just waiting for our boat, and somebody made the joke, I can't believe this place isn't made of marble. It is. I just came in the bathroom, look, all the floor rocks, like the throwaway rocks, all the tiles, the counters and sinks, everything's made of real marble. This place is crazy. Check out this fence. It's made out of freaking marble. You know how expensive this would be in Colorado? Even the top is made out of marble, but even these are made out of marble. I mean, it's insane. Even everywhere you look, there's marble, this whole city. We've been doing a marble tour. I bought some like statues and stuff for my resort. This place is awesome. Don't mind me, just passing the wall of marble. Even these beaches, instead of like seashells and stuff like that, it's just like little marble pebbles everywhere. Just pieces of marble all over instead of rocks and seashells like my beach. Insane! Even this ferry pier, the cement is filled in with marble rocks. It's crazy. Romblon's awesome, but I am here for the even more awesome diving. So let's get back on the boat, get back to our island and go dive.
Well, I showed you a Melody in that last clip, so why not show you a Melody nudibranch in this clip? This guy is a whole different one that I had no idea even existed. He's got some amazing camouflage as well, but it's a species I've never even heard of. I was glad to find him, and it's much, much smaller. These guys are really tiny, and its hood, or its head, you know, with its little mouth, is way tinier than the other Melodies I've seen, including that ghost Melody. When they open it up, it's just a really tiny opening, you know, maybe the size of my pinky tip or something. His body is much bigger than his mouth, and it's usually the other way around. But he's got all those hairs and things that let him blend in with his habitats, and it's a really awesome find. Another species that should be on your bucket list, and was not on mine, because I didn't know it existed. Now this next one I've also only seen in forums from Romblon or a couple other places around the world. Not very many places, including Darwin. We've never seen this one in Darwin before, and it's definitely high on my list. We do film a lot of Circe species, but this one, we call the butterfly Circe, I've never seen, and we've been looking for it for a long time. So of course when I got to Romblon, I told them, hey, we got to find this one. And we did. We saw a bunch of them. They took me right to pretty much everything I wanted to see. So there's so many reasons to come to Romblon. And since we're on Circes, here's another one. This nudie is one we have seen a few times. It's super cool though. It's got those little golden specks and lines, and it's kind of like some of the other ones where you can flip over a coconut or a piece of wood or something, and they're usually under there. You got to be delicate not to, you know, hurt them or anything, but they definitely give you some time to film them until they crawl back under the underside of the wood or coconut. But they're really cool to film. And how many people get to see stuff like this? This was the same exact site as the last two Circe nudibranchs, and maybe even more beautiful, who knows. This one was almost completely transparent. I'd like to see it if it didn't have those black lines. Would you even be able to tell it was there? Such a beautiful creature. I had no idea what this was, but my guide, I had some awesome guys, some awesome critter spotters. They were showing me all kinds of stuff. You can't know what everything is, but it was on a tiny piece of grass, as you can see, and it's just a little tiny snail. This guy was so cute. Took me a while to actually get a good footage of it. It was so tiny and there was some currents and stuff, but I got it. At least enough to show you guys what he looks like. And then on this green ball, that's some kind of algae, or I don't even know what it is, to tell you the truth. Somebody tell me in the comments. We're living these little tiny nudibranch. And I seen probably 4 or 5 of these green balls, and they all had the same species of nudibranch living on it. So it was pretty cool. I definitely had to film it. The nudie itself is tiny. I mean, this green marbly ball thing that he's eating on or living on was probably the size of a marble. It wasn't the easiest to film, but he's super photogenic, so definitely a good find. And like I said, there was probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them on different dive sites. Oh yeah, another first for me. I love these guys. I've been trying to find one for a long time. I really wanted to put it in my last book about nudibranch, but we hadn't found one. They're so tiny, maybe 2 grains of rice in size comparison, but I've never seen this one. This one's the psychedelic, and this is my first. There's so many firsts on this one 5-day trip. I couldn't even believe it. It was like a treasure hunt on every dive. This one's just a beauty. We have different variations of this guy here in Darwin, and this one is like a leopard. He's got these red spots. I've seen a lot of white ones with maybe some lines or something, but this one was so photogenic with his little red spots and living on this white stinging hydroid. Such a great little find. Now this was definitely something I've never seen. This is a dragon whip coral shrimp, and he was actually pretty small. You can see there's 2 of them, and the biggest one was probably 1 inch long, and definitely one of the hardest things I had to film. There was a pretty strong current, and everywhere under me were stinging hydroids. I couldn't touch the bottom, I just had to float around, and this whip coral was just whipping in the currents. It was going all over the place. It was almost impossible to get some really solid footage without shake, but I definitely had to try because this is footage I've never been able to get because I've never seen it before. Now I hope you guys are sitting down for this next critter because it's yet another one that I had no idea existed, but the guides and the owner of our dive resort at Sunset Cove in Romblon all kept telling me I needed to see this guy. It's called the Lembe dragon. Yeah, that is not a stick you're looking at. And yes, it does have 1 hair on its butt, 1 hair on its head. And it's the funniest little critter I've ever seen in my life. It was about 1 inch long and maybe the diameter of about 4 hairs put together. So ultra tiny, just hiding in this little substrate stuff that looked you know, that hit it pretty well. But this is some kind of pipe horse that is just insane. I've never seen such a weird and funny little species. Like, how the hell did these guys even survive evolution? This is insane. This is a critter that is so rare to me, I didn't even know it existed. This should be on every underwater photographer and videographer's dream list. This is such a crazy little species. I mean, every time I look at it, I'm just laughing like, what in the heck is that? It's not a seahorse, it's not a pipefish, it's some kind of pipe horse. And, well, it was first discovered in Lembe, so it's called the Lembe dragon. And now they have it here in the Philippines. I can see why it's hard to find, it's hard to discover, but my guides, they said we got one more thing to show you. You haven't seen it yet. So on our last dive, they show me probably the coolest critter of the entire trip. This guy. I love it, man. They know where to find everything, what dive site to go to if I want to see certain stuff, and it was such an amazing trip. I mean, just look at this guy. If I only saw this Lembe dragon, I would have been happy.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like I said before, this was one of our group dive trips that we do every year. We do 3 to 4 trips, whether it's live aboard or at a resort like this was in Romblon. If you guys want to get in on one of those trips, just hit us up. The email is down below in the description. I want to give a huge shout out to Sunset Cove Resort in Romblon. It's one of the most incredible dive trips we've done. We've already scheduled another one for next year, next May. This is really a macro muck divers, underwater photographer, underwater videographer paradise, and I can't wait to return. Of course, I actually had to cut out like 50% of all the clips and critters that we saw, or else this video would have been 2 or 3 hours long. So we're slowly going to be putting the little clips, 1 minute or less, on our YouTube and Instagram. So make sure, and Facebook. So make sure to go follow those if you want to see all the other species that were not in this video. See you on the next one.